I actually never prepared because last meeting, somehow you didn't allow me to speak. And then somehow when I ask you, where's your authority come from, you cannot provide me with an answer.
Is this regarding an agenda item? Because if you're not speaking on an agenda item or 10+1, you are not allowed to speak during public comment.
Because non-agenda public comment is on every single board agenda.
Not this one.
Okay, who said so?
Sir, do you have a public comment?
I do.
Related to this
Because
agenda?
every board agenda, doesn't matter if you're a city council, if you're the county board of supervisor, it doesn't matter what kind of board you are, the non-agenda public comment is always on the agenda. So my agenda is non-public, non-agenda
You are not
item.
allowed to speak at this assembly. It has been decided that you will not be able to speak during public comment if it is not based on an agenda item or 10+1.
My agenda item
Considering
is
that-
non-agenda public
That's
comment.
not on the agenda. So since it is not on the
Non-agenda
agenda,
public comment,
since
it is on
not on
every
the
single
agenda,
board
you
of
are not
trustees
allowed to
agenda.
speak at
Can
this
you please lower your voice?
No, I cannot,
No.
because you are violating my rights.
Sir,
Well, if
You
you
are
have
not
a problem,
allowed to
you can
speak.
call 911.
and we will not be.
Go
able to
ahead,
listen to
call
this.
911. I'm
Trust me,
waiting.
we are-
Go ahead.
Point of information.
I'm sorry, we're still on, just trying to clear up this issue.
Yeah, you can call 911 because my rights allows me the freedom, allows me the right to speak for non-agenda public comment.
As far as this is concerned, again, I want to apologize for this disruption, but we will not move forward while this person continues to harass this body. So we will take a brief adjournment, not adjournment, excuse me, a brief recess until this is dealt with. Thank you.
I never heard. That's it. So she did it all the time. So I want you to listen. No, I think they're asking me. But anyway, right, which is not this is why you know me long enough that majority of my public comment is never on the agenda, which is in the board of trustees. So I don't want to speak on the agenda item. So I want to speak on non-agenda non-agenda item. That's what I want. And that's my right. Under that's my right. That's my right to do so. Well, I did not disrupt their meeting. It's my opportunity to speak. It's my chance to speak. So I do consider I'm disrupting, but I am not, because it's my chance to speak. If board of trustees do that to me, I will do the same thing to board of trustees. So I'm telling you the same thing. So if the city council, not only that's the first part of the question. Second is that's legally allowed. That's my first part of the question. My second part of the question is not only who made the decision, but most important, who has the legal authority to make that decision. Because I go, as far as my understanding, back to the city council, there are people who is full of whatever language they want. I never seen anybody who was saying, hey, we are no longer just public comment. So not only who made the decision, but that she had legal power, legal authority that she is allowed in law, by law, to do so. So that's the second part of the question. And then as long as somebody can provide me with the law, it clearly give her the authority, give her the power. And she is doing this within the policy. I'm leaving myself. I will walk out myself. I don't need anybody. That's easy and clear. As long as it shows where, what law, what penal code and everything. That's very easy. But when my rights is being violated, I don't really care about it because my freedom of speech is being violated. So I'm not even in fear of the police since they are doing it. So I'm just waiting for the police. Right, because my rights are being violated. That's the first thing first. Actually, if she can tell me the law, she can show me the law, she can show me the legal explanation that she can do that, she can do so. I will walk out myself. That's my promise. I will walk, but I asked them the previous board meeting. I asked them, she didn't tell me I'm disrupting and she removed me. So, but I'm here, I'm asking the same question. I'm demanding the same answer. And then if this next board meeting or whatever I got, I'm gonna come back again. I'm demanding the same answer until somebody give me an answer, give me a legal explanation or whatever. Something like that. Yes, that's you understand better than.
Like, did this happen? No, it was added in 2021.
Seems like they're calling the police on this student.
I said I feel. I didn't say it. I said I feel. I didn't say it.
We're just telling them what we want them to
Something like that. Yeah, you can show me that. But it has to clearly show them they have authority without any sort of voting process, without any sort of democratic process, and then some sort of a president just say no, and then that is no. Yeah, I think it clearly shows that. Yes, that's my
Okay. To be fair,
Okay, you said you signed up for your comment. No problem.
Happy Merry Christmas. I can't think of a holiday. I can't think of anything.
So we will continue.
And then I still have my public comment.
Sir, I need
I
to.
still have my public comment.
Sir, you can wait for your public comment, you say so.
Okay, until they say so. Okay, good.
Wait until then.
Okay, let's wait.
Thank you.
Let's wait.
Actually, he's done. I need him to leave. He's been a disruption to this meeting. He's held us up for.
You've already disrupted the meeting.
No, I never get my public comment.
Staff 3-1, meet with security. Come on, just, you get your public comment when you get a chance.
Wait, I'm waiting for my chance.
No, they said you already been disrupted, so we can't have that. They need to proceed further. to me, so.
Well, you literally just said that when they call my name, so I'm waiting for them.
Well,
to
but
give
I
me a
didn't
chance.
realize that you were disruptive prior to me arriving.
No, I did not. Who told you so? They call me, I'm ready to speak,
I'm not yelling at you.
I'm not either. That's my
Okay,
regular
but-
voice.
All right, well, Mr. Boston.
I'm waiting for to speak
Sir,
my public
sir,
comment.
step aside.
If he lowers his voice, can he just speak?
No, he's been to too much of a disruption to this assembly, so he needs to leave. And I have too many senators telling me that they feel unsafe, myself included. So I'm not going to subject this body to that type of behavior.
Well, I don't know.
Unapologetic. I will not sit here for another week and let this person disrupt this body.
I understand that.
I'm sorry, that's
He
as far
already
as
spoke to you
it goes.
about it.
This is,
Could you put it to a vote?
no, this is not your bad, this is public comment. Later on, if you would like to add something in your space, that's fine. But I have enough senators who tell me they feel unsafe to not allow him to stay. Okay, this meeting is back in session. Are there any other public comments?
Yes, there's one. I've been asked to read public comment from Professor Michelson on agenda item D, approval of minutes. I am horrified, shocked, and disappointed at the aggressive behavior of Senate President Gena Lopez, and that no one in this room stood up for free speech of fellow faculty and of a student, and allowed the police to approach a student and professor of color, and that it was insinuated that the student must have mental health problems. At the last Senate meeting on November 20th, both Professor Michelson and a PCC student signed up and attempted to give public comments. Prior to public comments, the parliamentarian made an announcement. He is neither a faculty member nor was he ratified by the Senate body, and for the second year in a row, the executive officers have installed whom they wanted without the body's vote, which violates the Senate's own bylaws. He announced no public comments would be allowed starting then, even though the public instructions posted online for commenting had read that the Academic Senate provides members of the general public the opportunity to make comment on agenda items and non-agenda items. Please amend the minutes to include the legal authority that he spoke about and referred to, as well as the legal authority for the Executive Senate Committee to unilaterally decide to ban public comments on non-agenda items. Next, the minutes for today reflect no public comment happened. However, the reality is that Professor Michelson wanted to speak on G1 or J1 about subcommittee appointments and was skipped over even though it did exist. The police were told to remove her. During public comment, a professor tried to speak on an agenda item, but the president said the subcommittee agenda item didn't exist and that should be reflected in the minutes. A student was present and he had signed up to speak too, and during public comment, he spoke for the public's right to speak on topics that aren't explicitly listed on the agenda, which is a California state law protection. The minutes should reflect what actually happened and was said during public comment. Please make sure the record is accurate before voting on these November 20 minutes. Finally, on the minutes under the parliamentarian's supposed guidelines, it reads that lewd or obscene comments or items such as apparel and signs are prohibited. This is a constitutionally protected right. Neither he nor the executive officers nor the Senate body can mandate that. Strike that language in the minutes. The body has been discussing liberatory educational practices but doesn't observe or respect them.
Any other public comment?
No.
Okay, I just found out actually that we can respond to some public comment, just to set the record straight.
No, you cannot make comments about public comment. You can make comments when you have answers to
And
questions.
this is your first warning.
Public doesn't get a
You're out of
warning.
order. That is your second warning. The next time you speak out of turn, I will ask for you to be removed.
You cannot use your time to
Officer, I need to
respond.
remove. She's been
Please.
warned more than once.
What's the Brown Act say on
She has
this?
been warned more than once.
Please. Okay, I don't, let's go outside. Let
This
me
is
talk to you
not a
outside.
circus. This is a place where we do business.
Listen, please.
If you want to record,
and be able
People
to come
come
in
to
here.
try and make this a circus or a public spectacle.
I'm
It's
okay
an
with
insult
that.
to all of us.
Let me talk to you
And I will
outside.
not
Just
allow
Me
it.
and you, like my partner's talking. No. Let me talk to you.
Is there
I
any
need to
other
find out
public,
what's
oh,
going
to
on.
set the record
I'm
straight?
in,
There's nothing in our bylaws that says that we have to have Senate approval to,
Just
have a
please.
parliamentarian. That's not in our bylaws, so that was a lie. Also, the parliamentarian never said that there was no public comment. The parliamentarian said that public comment needs to be according to our 10+1 on agenda item. So that is setting the record straight. Okay, since there are no other public comment, we will move forward. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a motion? Okay, Amy, I see Amy. Do I have a second? Second is Jeff. Are there any objections to approving the minutes by unanimous consent?
It sounds like we need to review them. There seems to be some discrepancy on what happened with
Then
those minutes.
there's a motion on the floor. This is the perfect time to discuss it. Go ahead.
Well, it sounds like the issue is still about public comment, right? First it was eliminated, senators can't use it. Then it went away, now it's back, but it has to be a 10+1 for agenda items only for senators.
Okay, so this is about the minutes, but let me clear this up.
Okay.
That's, the public comment never went away. It never went away. Professor Walker specifically said that the senators should not use it, not that they can't, but they should not use it because you have your own platform as a senator. It's for the public. There was no public comment, and we're talking about the minutes. There was no public comment because these people were disruptive and they were asked to leave, just like I asked her to leave again, Officer Chen, she's still here.
We're getting there. We will be stepping out soon.
So, unless there is an error on the minutes, that's what we're discussing right now because that's the motion on the floor. And yes, I'm in agreement with some of my colleagues. We're going to stop this until she leaves. This is disruptive.
I'm not being disruptive.
You are being disruptive.
How am I
Let
being?
me talk to you real quick. Let me find out.
I want to see what happens here, so I'm not being
I
disruptive.
understand. Can you just give me a couple minutes outside? I mean, because they're not gonna proceed. Like I said, I don't know everything here.
Why not? I'm not talking.
Oh,
I'm not disrupting anything.
well, like I said, I don't understand what's going on.
I am going to call for another recess until this is taken care of. So we again are at recess.
Well,
We will start. We're at recess.
can we go talk?
Sure. But I don't want to miss any part of this
Okay.
meeting.
All right.
Okay.
Just give me a few minutes, please.
Okay, sure. I'm so sorry. Sorry. He went over to talk to Gina.
Part of any something and all that. And you can kind of get that was pretty big. I don't think anything really interesting about it. Why am I thinking more of like
Told her I'm just sitting over there.
I'm just gonna have time to respond. Fair enough.
Yeah. We should have a.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We just have to.
it's the first time that's ever. Yeah. I've been trying for a few years to wrangle people in. Well, I never told them that. I just feel that's pretty different.
No, it might have, I think they were goofing around. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
For now.
We're gonna call this back to order. And we are we still have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes. Is there any more discussion on approving the minutes? Okay, seeing none. Can we approve this by unanimous consent? Any objections? Yes?
I have an objection to approving it by unanimous consent.
Okay. So, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, so one objection, one abstention, that passes. Okay,
Okay, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I should have done this earlier, but with all of the hullabaloo, I got distracted, sorry. I need to make a motion to add an item to the agenda, so under information items G6. And it will be a presentation by the library by Ken Simon on a new system, changes to the library database.
okay, do we have a motion on the floor? Do I have a second? Second by Carmen Stevens. Okay. Are there any objections to approving that item being added by unanimous consent? Seeing none, we can add that item to G6, library systems. Okay, Ken, is Ken here? Oh, I can. Okay. All right, now we're on to our constituency reports. PCCFA. Devil, do you have a report for FA?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
We are excited to have a final general meeting with the FA tomorrow at noon. You should have received that invitation in the mailbox. We look forward to seeing everyone there. Just on behalf of the PCCFA, we'd like to wish the Academic Senate, the senators, happy holiday. And we look forward to working with everyone. We know that there's much work that needs to be done on our campus to unify our campus. So we look forward to the work in the new year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions for FA? Okay. Next, adjunct faculty.
Yes, I have the floor.
Okay.
Good afternoon. On the occasion of the last academic senate meeting of the semester, I'm prepared to give a report on the state of things currently for adjunct faculty. Adjunct faculty are currently, as of the end of the fall of 2023, overworked, overused, underestimated, underpaid, undervalued, disregarded, underrepresented, and oppressed. Unfortunately, this has not changed from the previous approximately 100 semesters which have been completed here at PCC. We're supposed to come here to the academic senate to have our voices heard, our concerns addressed, and policy changed to reflect the changing times and practices of higher education in academia. There is no other already established forum in which to address these things directly. Everything else would be an indirect mechanism, but not here. A couple of weeks ago, Academic Senate President Gena Lopez approached our current AFI chair to let her know she was concerned that I was not adequately representing adjunct faculty on the Academic Senate. Apparently, in addition to previously having tried to strong-arm the AFI chairs into choosing adjunct faculty senators that she, as the AS president, approved of, which does not include me, President Gena Lopez takes issue with the way I have been voicing my concerns about the Academic Senate and the matters that pass through this body. I've been actively questioning and objecting to policies and practices that, one, seem unfair or misguided, and or two, do not serve the adjunct faculty of Pasadena City College. I've been voting no or abstaining on just about every vote for every topic that does nothing to further the interests of adjunct faculty here at PCC. Now, those votes don't matter in terms of quantity needed for anything to pass and have been mostly symbolic because they are not impeding the ability of the Senate to pass what needs passing. But just the fact that I've been voting no or abstaining seems to be irritating some of you. It seems that many, if not most, of the senators present, especially the executive board, expect most things voted on here to pass by universal acclaim. However, expecting all votes to pass by unanimous consent is antithetical to the idea of any voting body anywhere of any kind. Had we greater representation in the academic senate, and by this I mean a greater number of adjunct faculty senators to literally represent us, then more of us deciding to abstain or vote down issues or policies might actually mean something. But adjunct faculty only have 5 senators here to represent the entirety of about 600 faculty members. Some of you have 5 senators to represent a department of about 100 faculty. This is what I mean when I said before we are underrepresented. We currently do not have adjunct faculty serving on any other subcommittees at PCC except the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee. Most weeks when we get to the part of approving names to serve on subcommittees, at least one of the executive board's names are on that list for various committees and subcommittees. Most of the time it's President Gena Lopez or Secretary Shelagh Rose, but several times it has also been Treasurer Lindsey Ruiz or Vice President Armia Walker volunteering themselves on committees. We currently have 2 sitting executive board members on the Nominations and Elections Subcommittee, which is in charge of overseeing the elections of the Academic Senate officers. This was done early at the beginning of the semester, and I myself erred in misunderstanding what the subcommittee was for, or else I would have objected at that time. But they were ushered in by unanimous consent of all the names put forward for all the subcommittees for that week. Did any of you know what you were voting for when they chose to put themselves on the committee to elect themselves? My issue with these unanimous consent bulk approvals has been that none of these names are adjunct faculty. I've heard that many or previous other senators in this body complain that adjunct faculty don't participate in the governance of the college. The reality is that you don't let us participate. Whenever adjunct faculty volunteer to be on subcommittees, these names are not brought forward by the committee chairs to be voted on. Remember when I asked specifically about the process of how this is done? Apparently all the chair has to do is forward the names of the volunteers for their committees to the Academic Senate, who then places them on the list of names for subcommittee appointments, and that's that. Yet every time I filled out that form in the past year or more, my name was not submitted to join the committee, except for one, the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee. Tell me how this body is helping adjunct faculty participate in shared governance, because I have not seen evidence of it. You refuse to allow us voting rights on faculty referenda or to serve on hiring committees. I find it highly hypocritical and shameful that the same people who in the Senate speak up for liberatory education for our students, restorative justice, and anti-racial and anti-discriminatory policies and practices are the exact same people who, when asked to support liberatory workplace policies and practices for our faculty, and who love to speak up on behalf of their students, are as silent as crickets when someone disturbs the tall grass when we ask you to support your faculty colleagues. Shame on you all for all the good saying that will likely do, because most of you here seem to have no shame. You protect yourselves, you do what is best for you, you try to do what is best for your students. When it comes to your adjunct faculty colleagues achieving equity, you are fiercely opposed or fiercely indifferent. I don't know which is worse right now, that you actively oppose adjunct faculty workplace equity, or that you simply can't be bothered with considering it. It is disappointing to all of us adjunct faculty, but ask me if it is surprising. The space is not surprised. I likely won't be in the academic senate this coming semester, but I may decide to return after that, because I've been elected for a 2-year term. What I want you all to consider is that having power doesn't change who you are. In 2012, and quite famously, Michelle Obama paraphrased the concept of power when talking about President Obama. She said, being president doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you are. So when I'm sitting in this room and looking around this room, and when many people can no longer easily see what happens in this room, because the executive board declined to have the academic senate meetings recorded this year, I ask you all to look at your executive board and look at yourselves and see how the tiny bit of power that the people in this room wield have revealed who you all are. If you're sitting in this room and you're not actively supporting and finding ways to address and rectify the functional and conceptual inequity of the status of adjunct faculty here at PCC, you have shown everyone who you are and how you want to be. If you're sitting in this room and you're not questioning the ethics of this executive board, how it is behaved to stifle and suppress and intimidate people trying to engage in their right to free speech, critical as it may be, which is an unfortunate reality when you are an elected official, and how it has behaved to actively exclude participation by adjunct faculty, how it has weaponized the position of the parliamentarians so that they don't have to follow Robert's rules unless it suits them to do so now, and making the rules of this body more like the pirate code, that is to say guidelines, that don't necessarily need to be followed but are followed only at their whim. I ask you to ask yourselves whether this is a body to be proud of in its current configuration, or whether it has become more of a joke than anything else, abandoning actual deliberation in favor of passing things by unanimous consent, because everybody wants to get out of here and get home as quickly as possible. And in the process, actual reflection, discussion, and free thought are stifled, so that this is effectively a sham Senate, uninterested in matters of justice, equity, and liberatory practices, especially when it comes to preserving the status quo for full-time faculty and stepping on the necks of those of us who are adjunct faculty. Abolitionist and feminist Sarah Grimke said in the 1830s, quite infamously now, I ask no special favors for my sex. I surrender not our claim to equality. All I ask of my brethren is that they will take their feet from off our necks and permit us to stand upright. Your lack of support, executive board, and your lack of support, fellow senators, keeps everyone's feet on the necks of adjunct faculty. We may be the last class in higher education in which it is acceptable to keep us oppressed. While the rest of you enjoy the social and financial freedoms that you maintain, we should not enjoy along with you. Let 2024 be the year in which that begins to change from within right here in the Senate. Else remain entrenched in the shame of your undeserved elitism and disgraceful oppressive practices, and let the whole world see you all for the people this tiny bit of power has revealed you all to be. Happy holidays to all.
Any questions for adjunct faculty? I have one. Was there this gauged with all your reports and your, whatever you reported in it? Did you gauge that with all adjunct faculty? Because that sounded a lot like it was just coming from you.
Did I gauge?
Yes, because you're supposed to be here representing adjunct faculty, not just Dr. Bernardo.
I expressed my views, and then I also expressed the views of the other adjunct faculty who I do speak to
So of the 600 members, how many were in line with that?
I didn't ask all 600.
Okay, any other questions for adjunct faculty? Next, classified Senate.
Just wanted to apologize for being out at the last academic senate meeting and not have a report out. I think this would have been a little bit more pertinent then, but to my understanding, there's some discussion of the presidential search, ongoing presidential search, and some concerns with just the process. So I just wanted to echo I'm just speaking for what I've heard from classified staff and classified Senate, that we're also heavily invested in this process. And we also share a lot of same concerns, more about processes, less about people and politics, but more just that we want this to be a fair process, and that we understand we're gonna have to work alongside this person moving forward, whoever that person ends up being. And so we just want to kind of stand in solidarity both with the Management Association and with Academic Senate, that we share the concerns, and we're very heavily invested in finding somebody who's going to be a good representative for our specific community college.
Thank you. Any questions for classified Senate? Okay, next we have associated students, which I don't think we have a student here today. Okay, we'll move on to Metro Association.
Good afternoon. I know at the last academic senate meeting, Tito Bernardo gave a brief update on the superintendent president search and our first screening meeting that we had, and some concerns that came from that meeting. While there were many, one of them was the lack of a job description for the superintendent president. The only published item was a presidential profile done by AGB. So we had no way to, when screening applicants, normally we create the rubric and we go through minimum expectations and all that. So none of that existed. So followed up with AGB and Trustee Kwong to get some clarifying information on where the job description is, when it will be board approved. From my standpoint, it seemed like AGB got a little nervous when we kept asking for a job description, so they went back into the history books and pulled out the last job description that was used at the last presidential search, and it came back to us and said, well, since this has been previously approved, we're going to go ahead and recycle this one. So that's where we're at with that. One of the other issues that we had is that those that are actually applying for this
It's a public meeting.
aren't going through our HR office. They're applying directly to AGB with no oversight from PCC. So whatever the search committee receives, it's being fed through AGB, being screened by them to whatever their expectations are, and then those applicants will be given to the search committee. So we have no way to see who was filtered out, what their metrics were to put a candidate through to the committee. So we're continuing to following up with AGB and try and make this more transparent and fair in the process. That's my report.
Yes, before we move forward, it's been brought to my attention that your reporting is reporting some of the senators' screens, so I need you to either move or sit down.
It's a public meeting.
Yes, but you're.
Maybe they can move.
Yes.
How about right here?
I understand AGB stands for, could you say the acronym?
American governing body. That's it.
Association of Governing.
Yeah.
And weren't they brought in so that we have transparency? So it wouldn't be kind of well, I don't want to say, but too much from the inside. So in a way, isn't that a good thing?
Yes and no. I mean, it's still.
You lean to make it seem like it was a negative, that they didn't have oversight, so.
So I guess we don't exactly know what AGB is measuring the applicants against. So traditionally how it's gone is we have a job description in place that we can measure minimum qualifications for an applicant. Our HR department will look through the applications and weed out those that do not meet minimum qualifications. They work in conjunction with the consulting firm and the selection committee. So HR has kind of been put aside on this whole process. So now
Which they would be biased, so I actually think that's a good thing.
I'm not sure.
I know so. They would be. So this is, yeah, I think I want to highlight that I think that this is a positive, that we have an outside, independent, unaffected, unbought group of people doing their jobs to help us with this process. So I just want to highlight, this is a very good thing for the college.
Okay, any other questions for the Management Association? Yes.
Just a quick clarification. So they have their own rubric they're using and they're just not sharing it, or we don't even know if they're using anything?
The only thing that we know is that they have the publication that they put out to advertise for the presidency, and what their minimum qualifications are, what their expectations are not published. So we don't.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you're supposed to be alone. I know you're taking all the questions, but figure it's one person. But for a job that's open at Pasadena City College, how could there ever not be a job description out there, but we're accepting applications? So from your position, my position, any other position for anybody sitting in this room, there would have had to have been a job description for us to be able to apply. How could we hire a president that will be over every area at this college, but there is no published job description?
Dr. Stevens, that's exactly the question that I asked when I was there. And we never really got an answer other than it was approved by the board. And that has been their fallback on everything that we've had questions on. Their lack of transparency has been it was approved by the board. Thank you. Any other questions for Management Association? Okay, so we move on to the officers' reports, and we'll start with mine. Mine's going to be very quick and simple. It is in regards to hiring of the new president. It's one of the most important jobs on this campus, and we're not getting the answers that we're asking for when we were on the committee. In fact, Tito Altamirano sent an email to, well, Tito. Yeah. Tito sent an email out asking about these questions, and what came back was it's the same, more of the same. The board approved this, this will not be changing. So things that happened in the meeting that they said they would work on or that would work towards didn't happen. And in fact, we were told, no, this is not going to change. So they're going with a profile rather than using a job description. There are quite a few issues that we question. And again, there's been very little, if any, transparency. The timeline that's being pushed also, I don't understand what the hurry is, especially if it's not being done right. But there are lots of questions from every constituency group. It is not just Management Association, but Management Association, the Classified Senate, Academic Senate, and who am I missing? So students all have come together and said that this is not an okay process and that we need more, not only more clarification, because I specifically asked this for you, Dr. Stevens. I specifically asked or said, we all have to go through, we have job descriptions, we have to go through EEO training, not something special or different because they wanted to do special and different EEO trainings for community members. No, we all need to do this together. And it just has not been the most transparent or organized process. And I will be honest, after talking to some of my colleagues in leadership, as well as other faculty members, I don't have a lot of confidence in this process. And I don't say that very often, but I do not. And I will leave it at that. Yes.
Can I ask if you're concerned about, or I guess anybody who's expressed this concern about not having a job description and only having a profile, a candidate profile? would that, my thought is that that would open up the process to more sort of diverse candidates. So I'm kind of asking what the concern is, if that seems to be.
The concern is if anybody can come and apply for this job, then we might get anybody. There are certain things that a college president should have, like community college experience for one. If they don't have that, at least a certain amount of experience working in a college, there's nothing. Anybody can come, and I think not only is that taxing on the screening people, because we have to screen through all that, but we were also told that some of those applications would go directly to the group, is it AG, ASG? AGB. So, I mean, it's just not a lot. We all have job descriptions. The person trying to get this job as the president should know what they're looking for, and we should be able to vet them by their experience. But without any type of job description, how is that different than us anybody just applying for our jobs too? I mean, I just don't understand that. Yes, Catherine.
So the process hasn't started yet of sorting through the applications yet, has it?
It has not.
Okay, so then it's a
But-
little bit early to complain about the job description if.
It is not, because it's live. They've already opened it up for people to apply.
But when you guys sort through the applications, you will have a job description, so I don't know what this is.
I'm acknowledging hands. I'll go with Dr. Stevens and then Armia Walker.
So I guess I stress back to my first concern. If any of us were applying for a position, you apply based off of the position title and description, or bio, whatever title that's given. If there's nothing published, then what would an applicant be applying that would make them a stronger candidate over others? So that's anything. If you're applying for a scholarship, right, a job, a house, you will apply based with all the information. And it seems like the candidates that will be applying or have already started to apply would not have that same information to go off of. So it would not be making it fair for each candidate. So I think that's a major concern, especially when we talk about diversity and equity amongst applicants. We want all applicants to have a fair shot.
Professor Walker and then Matt, and then James.
This is a report. This is the president's
So,
report.
to answer, I forgot who asked, so it's live and it's open, and people are applying. And then I think, Catherine, you said, then we could like weed out people or whatever. One, if there's no job description, there's nothing to choose that person to base their qualifications upon if no qualifications are given. There's nothing to base it on. And then two, that is a strain and a very poor use of resources to read through 500 applications. I'm just throwing a number out there. Whereas if there was a job description, there would be better use of ways to weed out this process. I mean, I've been on hiring committees. It's not fun to sort through a lot of unqualified people. But typically those unqualified people are weeded out in the very beginning if they don't have minimum quals, right? But if we don't have any minimum quals, how many applications are people on the committee expected to read, and what kind of use of resources? You know, it's just not a good use of resources for a campus.
Yeah, that's why I said
Okay.
if you don't have a job description at that point.
Matt, you were next.
I just want to point out, like, we're already straying from, the board is already straying from their own board bylaw. So board bylaw 2431 lays out the process for the hiring of the superintendent president. Line 6 of that board bylaw, the board of trustees will approve the job description for the superintendent president and any promotional materials announcing the availability of the position. The position went live on November 27th without an approved job description. So they've already violated their own board policy.
Have they refused to put out a job description? I mean, I feel like you guys are blowing this out of proportion, honestly. That's my opinion.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. Was it? Go ahead, James.
I think the difference between the material that they've created so far and an actual job description is what we can base a rubric off of. And we need to know that, and more importantly, the applicant needs to know that before they submit any of their application materials. I guess there's a chance that if we keep it open long enough, they can resubmit new application materials as they get new information, but it just doesn't really seem fair. It kind of seems like it would make the most sense for us to have a job description against which they're trying to match their application materials, especially if they don't go back and change them as we release new information, that then we can build a fair rubric and it's a more equitable way, as has been brought up, to judge each candidate before we move forward with anything. And if that bylaw line 6 or whatever that board bylaw that applies to the board, if it says both at the same time, the ad or the marketing materials or promotional materials and the job description, if those are both due to us at the same time, then they're in violation of their own bylaw.
It doesn't say both at the same time, though, I've looked at it.
That was just my understanding, but I guess it's open to interpretation.
Right.
But I just think it's, it was a concern also that I think that our shared governance body had, was that this would move forward and we would start getting applications in and we potentially have candidates that are not getting in their best materials.
Okay, any other questions for me? Oh, sorry, this was me. Any other questions for my report? Great. Yes, Sal.
If the application process already started submitting the applications, how do we know this outside company isn't already screening these applications? And they're just gonna give us whatever they feel like they think should go on? Because that, the way it goes, I could apply for this job, right? I don't have to fix a car, I teach how to fix a car, but running a campus is a whole different thing. But I should go through to the next level too.
That's the issue, one of many. Okay, moving forward. Vice President's report.
Just really quick to remind everyone, I have to keep saying this in every meeting. You all are here representing your areas. So make sure that you take everything back to your areas and speak on behalf of your areas that you're representing. Because that's why you're here. You are here to bring forth concerns from your area. You're here to take back what you heard. I know it sounds remedial, but it needs to be repeated, that you're representing your area. Also, we will be having new things coming in the spring that we're excited about. We have some faculty members already lined up to do the Ed Talks. We have created a rubric and we'll be sharing that rubric. And we just look forward to, again, continue to promote liberation throughout campus for our students. And I want to say that to remember why you're here, and that is to move along the process in a productive manner. And also, just to let you all know that, and you know us, you see us, that we're human. And the events of today and the events of the past meetings have taken a toll. It's straining, it's draining, it's taken away from our productive work. I'm shaking. And it's a lot. And I don't like the fact that certain people are treated a certain kind of way that makes our process look unproductive, makes our process look weak. When I don't feel that you all or we all are unproductive and weak, I think that we are a strong body and that we have accomplished a lot. And for the record, all we want to do is good work, and I think we've done good work. That's it. That's my report.
Yes, Michelle.
Can you explain what you meant when you said, you said the new things coming for spring, you said ed talks for rubrics?
Yes. What rubrics? So our ed talks are going to be like TED Talks, but it's going to be like faculty talking about how to promote and further liberatory education on campus. but we decided we needed a rubric so that people know how to prepare, for the talks. Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
Hope you sign up too. It'd be great. Okay, Secretary's report.
I don't have a report, but I do want to express concern that the individual is taping someone's personal computer. And especially because that person is in her department and she has sent criticisms about her role as a senator. So I feel like there is an agenda behind this, and I do not think that individual should be standing there recording other people.
I've asked you once to sit down.
Sure.
To be honest.
Thank you.
Come over here.
No, actually, I need you to sit down.
Maybe over there, no one's writing.
You need to sit down.
No, I don't.
You're being disruptive.
Just have a seat, let's.
I need to be able to project this. You have
I'll hold it for you.
For you?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you awake?
Okay, treasurer's report.
I don't know if there's one.
There we go. So we have an increase of $166.64 for a total of $16,949.32. These were from contributions to our Senate. Thank you. Sure, I'm so sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, any questions for our treasurer? Great. So now we have information items from our student service, or excuse me, we have a student services update by Dr. Alcunji. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us again. Just a couple of events that are going on and leading up to finals and finals week. The career community folks are facilitating de-stress week. You may have seen them in the quad. They're doing arts and crafts. They have massages out there today for students. So that's going on this week and into the quad. The International Student Program has prepared care packages to prepare for finals for their students, and so the international students will pick those up at the international student office immediately. There's also art therapy, spa day, and finals julep, which are being hosted by the associated students on these dates. When we get this presentation, everything is linked to the calendar with the details of each of these events. Just a quick registration update. We are in the middle of both registration for winter and spring. I just wanted to give you a head count. This is winter. The light blue is where we were at our most recent winter that we had. And the light blue for spring is the most recent that we had in spring, and the dark blue is where we are now. Winter is fully open for registration at this point. Spring, we still have a whole week left to go for students to be able to register. Today was by far our largest group registering, so we should see a spike in the rest of this week. Yes.
When you say past head count, what time
So,
frame are you referring
this is,
to?
the spring is last spring, so spring 2022. Okay. And then winter was actually the most recent winter that we had, so what was that, 2 years ago? Yeah. Dean's got an email that they hopefully forwarded to all faculty with some of this information in it. This is just a reminder that we do have resources to support students through the registration cycle. It can be hard and confusing, and even the number of staff that have been helping students register has just revealed some of the areas that we need to improve on. But in the meantime, we're here to support and walk through those issues with students. So if a student approaches you, please, you're welcome to email me. I'm on Teams. I will give you my cell phone number. We can help out any of the students. We have in-person registration support. They can go there at any time. First-year students can go to B100. Anyone else can go to D300. We have counseling and success coaches, and the tutors are all trained up, and we're a crew. So, and I know some of you may be familiar with the registration process. So thank you all for stepping up and helping your students through that. Yes.
Do you have, going back to the time frame on your graph? Yes, so you said, the blue graph, the total for that semester or comparing to this time last year?
It's total. Yes, yeah. So that's my target.
Okay, thank you.
Our target is our target. Sorry? I have one more. I have two more. So a quick transfer update. Tamika's right there in case you want to add anything. The transfer center, last week, so busy, serving so many students who were hitting that November 30th deadline. So appreciative of the entire staff. So we saw the counselors and the classified staff, and it was just all hands on deck to help students get to this point. And we've heard that some of the CSUs and UCs maybe open up a little bit later with their applications, and so please check out the Instagram page that the Transfer Center has, and we'll send further information about which campuses those include. And then a wonderful honors program update. We had 2 students receive a $5,000 scholarship for 2 years from our top certified students. And that's at the end of my report.
Ma'am, are there any questions for our student services update? Seeing none, thank you so much. Okay, next we have VAMs. They're going to talk about their Bachelor of Arts degree in art management.
I don't need the PowerPoint, but I love the microphone. Thank you. Appreciate it. After teaching all morning, my voice is shot. I'm sure you're similarly situated. My name is John Geiger. I'm on faculty with the Visual Arts and Media Services Division. I teach cinema. I'm also a writer, a screenwriter, and often some public recovering and retired entertainment attorney. And this is an informational item to inform your academic senate that VAMS intends to seek approval in the state of California and the California Community College Chancellor's Office to offer a Bachelor of Arts degree in Arts Management. First, let me briefly talk about the degree. No public institution in our region offers a Bachelor of Arts degree in Arts Management. Not at the community college 2-year level, 4-year university level. VAMS intends to develop an interdisciplinary curriculum grounded in the management and leadership of the various commercial and fine arts, with a focus on professional training and entry into the workforce, as well as matriculation to graduate studies. Let me talk about the need for this degree. Let's talk workforce. The commercial and fine arts are indeed steep in the information age and are facing new challenges each and every day through artificial intelligence. The need to train cultural entrepreneurs in the arts has never been greater. And in fact, at a VAMS-sponsored event earlier this fall in Western Recital Hall, labor economists from civil economics presented a number of studies in federal labor statistics that evidence that the creative economy accounts for 15.75% of California's domestic product. In Los Angeles County, the market share and economic impact of the creative economy is astounding. The total product of Los Angeles County is $824 billion, of which the creative economy accounts for $438.4 billion by way of direct, producing the product, indirect, those who support those who produce the product, and induced spending, the increased wages for those who benefit from direct and indirect economic activity in the arts. Compare this with manufacturing, which is roughly $76 billion, or professional, scientific, and technological services, which are about $74 billion, or healthcare and social assistance, which sadly is only $59 billion. In other words, half of LA County's gross national regional product comes from our creative economy. And yet, collectively, the arts are an underserved industry for qualified management and leadership. As colleges are not training people with unique skills for the public, private, and nonprofit sectors to support the arts. Graduates from our program will be prepared to pursue multiple career paths, including creating and leading their own companies, programs, and/or creative organizations, many of which would be imagined or launched within the 4-year course of study. The upper division curriculum will be highly individualized, allowing students to design the course of study that is most appropriate for them and their career aspirations. Program tracks could include arts entrepreneurship, executive leadership in the arts, equity and social justice through the arts organizations, contemporary models, and innovative models. Arts in the community, current practices and new visions. In the nonprofit world, art activism and transformative philanthropy. We talked briefly about opportunities and synergies. As I mentioned, the Bachelor of Arts in Management is not offered at any public institution in this region. The availability of that at Pasadena City College would certainly open up articulation opportunities for our students for transfer study, for graduate study. We are Hollywood adjacent. We are Silicon Beach adjacent. So the next steps that Advance intends to pursue will be submitting a formal application to the Chancellor's Office further in January 2024 deadline. Thank you for your time and attention. I'll take any questions.
We'll need a motion to extend first. Okay, bye. Is there a second? Okay, I have a second. By Kalud. Are there any objections to approving 5 additional minutes by unanimous consent? Seeing none, you have an additional 5 minutes. And you had a question, Catherine?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So you said there are no, or this program is not currently offered in any community colleges. Where is the closest geographical college that offers something similar?
It's a great question. Thank you for that. USC for the Thornton School of Music offers a music-centric degree. If you were to Google arts management, you get a motley collection of answers, some of which are not supported by data. Well, what a surprise, the internet isn't correct. But UCLA does have a program that's very limited to music performance. It is not, we have, in terms of when I talk about an interdisciplinary curriculum, targeted with the arts at the hub rather than business management or legal or any of the outliers, but really starting with an arts-centered point of view. We have 25 or so different categories of the arts offered here at PCC, and that's what I'm talking about, and no one does that. But as to answer your question directly, USC has one through Thornton, and UCLA has a very limited one through their music department. Cal State Long Beach, also through the theater department, at the graduate level, has a, I believe it's a 2-year master's degree in this.
This is really great, by the way. I want to say congratulations to whoever thought of this, because being in the arts, I know that in the past, you basically just work your way up, or you take business management courses and that's how you get to that level, but having something specific for the arts, I think it's great.
Well, thank you for that. I could not agree more. You know, I have a JD from USC, an MFA from UCLA. I gotta tell you, the most interesting doors that I've walked through were a function of having both degrees. Neither one of them I love them or not. And I was a community college kid from the Central San Joaquin Valley. I grew up in the Farm Belt. I have no connections to Los Angeles. And that distinguishes me from most of our students. It's not who you know, that's the realness of it. It's who knows you. And the way for folks to know you is to matriculate through a program that has credibility that can platform you into the creative economy. I think that's a very, very powerful position that we should seize as a community college.
Any other questions? Yes, Tony. You mentioned this would be an interdisciplinary degree. Do you know what disciplines on campus you're seeking out to partner with to build the program?
Curriculum development, of course, still remains, but I can tell you that 25 arts various programs within bands would be you know, what a big piece is. It's funny, we tend to think of Hollywood as movies, but really Hollywood in terms of return is gaming and game-centric. We have a number of sub-units within bands that are exclusively games and interactive arts. So I think really what driving is the availability of those 25 groups. I'm not going to give you a list of names.
No. I was wondering if you were going across divisions. That's what I wondered. If you're going to stick to bands, or will you also include business because of the management piece? Or were you sticking to bands? That was my wondering.
The hub certainly is bands. It would be short-sighted to close the door to the synergies of the other smart groups that we have on campus. And that's part of the advantage of strength in numbers. You're able to leverage some good learning in terms of organizations and leadership and studying contracts. The age of crossover degrees is here now. Operating in the silo as a disservice. So that's why I'm doing our design to help not only interdisciplinary, but to leverage what we're talking about. But again, without giving up that art-centric approach. Great question, I appreciate it.
Yes, Tracy.
Do you think that this also could be a great pathway for people maybe going into jobs in Silicon Valley companies, Broadway, things that are going on in New York, not to diss LA, because we have got a lot of film here, but I'm just thinking about the other side of the pendulum with theater and arts and dance, and of course galleries, and you could speak to any kind of jobs that people could actually get with this kind of knowledge and degree.
You know, I do, it's funny, I cut my teeth right out of law school going on representing art galleries at the South Bay. And then simply to representing filmmakers. It's a great platform for learning the business angles as well as the artistic angles of curation, whether you're curating visual arts or you're curating theater productions. You know, as I tell my students, it's the art of the narrative and emotional engagement. That's what the art's all about. I don't care if that narrative is on the page, the stage, or the screen. It's all the same. It is all about audience. We talk about independent galleries, independent film. We're never independent of audience and obligation.
Okay, are there any other questions? Otherwise, we need to get a motion.
One more question.
Okay, then I
Motion
need
is done.
5 minutes.
I'll keep it short. I'm sorry. I get excited about this. This is
Second by
exciting stuff.
Tony. Are there any objections to approving another 5 minutes by unanimous consent? Seeing none, you have an additional 5 minutes.
Okay, so you said you would be petitioning this in the beginning of 2024, is that correct?
Yes, Chancellor's initial paperwork.
And what is the time frame for the city to get approved for it being implemented at PCC? Do you have that program?
You know, I don't have that time frame in front. I know that within that first quarter, we would expect response back from the Chancellor's office. Part of qualifying is a preemption check, and we've been very, very deliberate and careful about that. We're not preempted, and what is this?
Okay, I saw another hand.
Here's mine.
I just wanted to say, it sounds like an awesome program that you're putting together. My concern would be all the effort to put this program together and PCC not being able to hire the staff because of hiring, it just seems like, I don't know where it could go. I mean, is there something that's coming down the way that they're going to provide for staffing? Because we've lost programs because we can't get, we're not hiring.
Well, thank you for that question, because if we're doing, I cannot speak to budget or to the recommendations of the HR. I can tell you this, that for each and every artist within the 25 practice groups of bands, they are idea entrepreneurs. We have to find our way and learn the business as we go. In fact, when I first got out of film school, I've been an entertainment attorney for a decade, and I reinvented myself as a screenwriter. And I was shocked at how many folks, including professors, including guild members, were not talking about the business elements. Not only about where the lines are drawn, but how to leverage the business elements into your career. And I think that's something that we have the in-house capabilities of right now, because every smart instructor in the arts is an arts entrepreneur. Will there be additional hiring? Should there be? Can we leverage this for a program that's unique? I would hope so, but I don't have budgets, and I don't have answers to that. Budgets and timetables are always, it is an art, not a science.
There are no other questions. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Next, we have a statewide academic senate plenary report by Monica Escobar.
Hi everyone, my name is Monica Esquivel. I am a new hire for the Spanish department, and I have not had the pleasure of meeting many of you, but I am very honored to be here today. I am part of the EDAC committee for the academic Senate for the California Community Colleges that oversees 116 academic senates, and I'm just here to give you a report on what happened in plenary. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with plenary, but I have attended plenary, and I would love for us to have more representation. I would love to see Pasadena College more represented during plenaries. We have had colleges that have had up to 5 representatives and in person. So I think that would be a very good goal for academic senate. Hopefully in 2024, spring plenary is coming up, and so it would be great for many of you to be involved in state work. So what are the objectives for today? I want to tell you what is plenary. I want to give you a few highlights of the breakouts I attended, and I want to talk about debating and voting as well. So plenary is a venue for submitting, debating, and voting on resolutions around statewide academic and professional matters. There is education involved. I believe we all need to be educated on things that are happening, not just in a college, but in other colleges as well. We share information, we network, and anyone actually can enroll in the listservs, depending on what your interests are. We have different caucuses, such as the small and rural colleges, LGBTQIA+. We have the Asian Pacific Islander, Latinx, Black articulation and transfer. We also have ASCCC liaisons, and unfortunately, we do not have a part-time caucus. So we are trying to get that up and ready. For adjunct representatives, this will be a great opportunity to be represented in the state. So we're trying to get that going as well. There were many breakouts and general sessions during the 3 days that I was there. I wanted to talk about academic and professional matters, implementing dual enrollment with intentionality. So I'm not too sure if we're really familiar with what dual enrollment is, but the way that they talked about it during this breakout is that it is an opportunity for students who otherwise would not have access to college level or university level courses. Unfortunately, underrepresented groups do not have access to this type of courses, so it's great for them to see, can I do it? If I've already taken one course, most likely they will continue to take college level courses. Faculty should be invited to voice their opinions on best courses for dual enrollment. We know that not all courses are the same. Not all courses should be included into dual enrollment, and that is a reality, as well as understanding that not all students are ready for college level courses, and that is okay as well. The second breakout is empowering diverse, inclusive faculty leadership strategies, resources, and community. So we're talking about diversity. We are talking about the power of voice, the power of information, the power of knowledge. And when leadership is diverse, inclusive, and communicative, more campus buy-in in our campus communities or institutional mission and goals, there is more interest, right, there. It increases constituency, engagement, innovation, and creativity. It provides insight into the needs of diverse stakeholders, improves decision-making, and helps employees to thrive, not just survive. It also makes sure that college and services are represented in the communities that we serve. These are some pictures that I took for challenges to diverse, inclusive leadership. So when we're talking about diverse and inclusive leadership, such as your academic senate, we do have challenges. So we were actually...
Motion to extend. I saw Carmen's hand first. By 5 minutes, and second, Jeff Hutt. Are there any objections to approving this by unanimous consent in 5 minutes? Seeing none, you have an additional 5 minutes.
Thank you. So what we did during this breakout is we actually had to write in Post-it notes different challenges. So there was, one of the things was lack of compensation for part-time faculty to participate in shared governance. Many part-time faculty in different colleges are not compensated for going to governance meetings or participate in governance committees. Brownout restrictions around virtual meetings, culture of a small core of faculty who are actively involved, post-pandemic transitions where faculty are not used to being on campus as often and teaching online. Some other challenges are toxic interactions, dynamics in leadership spaces. We also have equity-centeredness on campus, focus on closing student success gaps, but not on institutional equity in terms of faculty representation. We have racial battle fatigue experienced by BIPOC faculty, where they feel like it's them or nobody else. They have to carry on their shoulders the weight of representation, or nobody else is going to do it. And so some strategies to address these challenges are to find allies and confidants who are not actively engaged in leadership, then coming together to discuss common goals and interests, such as where equity work is going. And so it was a very good way for us to brainstorm how we can solve these challenges. I actually did a presentation for the academic state senators, and we talked about centering IDEA. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with IDEA. And in professional development, so I actually talked about seminar at PCC. I talked about this onboarding program and how incredible the job that or seminar faculty is doing with all of us new people here.
Sorry, we have a rule about not using acronyms. Could you tell us what IDEA stands for? And I have it here.
Oh, thank you. So IDEA stands for Inclusivity, Diversity, Equity, Access, and Accessibility. So we want to see all of these things into professional development. We don't want to see only colleges looking into AI. We want to know, okay, how are you putting diversity into AI? How are you putting anti-racism into AI? So this is what we want to see in faculty professional development, such as opening day. And seminar at PCC is doing an amazing job to talk to us about culture of humility and how their brain works and how we can have a students' culture as an asset. Finally, debating and voting, we had over 300 academic senators in attendance. This is what it looks like. Everybody has their computers in the front. The resolutions are put into a big screen. Everybody votes live. We do have a pro mic, con mic, and parliamentary mic. It is very orderly and organized. We have delegates, but every person, faculty, non-credit, counselors, part-time, every single person that works at a community college, they are allowed to attend plenary. Everyone is welcomed. And so they have the 3 microphones, and the debate is limited, and people vote for resolutions. They could either pass, not pass, or they could be sent to our ASCCC Executive Board. I am part of the EDAC committee at the ASCCC, which is Equity, Diversity, and Access Committee. Resolutions come to our committee that have passed during plenary, and then we try to look for ways to implement those resolutions and send those highly suggested resolves to the 116 community colleges to whether implement or just think about, to have in the back of their head to see if there's another way to implement these things. So it was a great experience. I would really love to see more people from PCC because I was the only one there present. I know our Treasurer Lindsey Ruiz was there, which was amazing. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, I need another 5 minutes. Pardon me? There are questions. I need a motion. Okay, Brian, I saw your hands first. Cass, second, by 5 minutes. Okay, if there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Okay, you have an additional 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to ask, what do you think is the main reason why there hasn't been a part-time caucus? And based on that question, what would you think would be the best steps in terms of us getting for the next one?
I got this question actually when I was presenting. Unfortunately, the same feeling that I heard today during my first academic Senate meeting at PCC is the same voice that we hear during the state meetings. I believe time. Unfortunately, many adjuncts do not have the luxury of time because they work in multiple colleges. We do have a process. We are starting an application. We need 16 part-time faculty to sign in order for the caucus to be formally made. We also need full-time voices to amplify part-time faculty voices and their message. We need support. Although I am a full-time professor at PCC, that is the message coming from the state.
Any other questions, Catherine?
I believe every college has, I think, the title of liaison.
Yeah.
Is there a liaison for PCC and the ASCCC?
Sure, yes.
There's a lot of different kinds of liaison for different positions. So there's an OER liaison, there's a DE liaison, there's an equity liaison. So we could try and collect all those names for a future.
There are.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Yes. Yes, Tracy, any liaisons that Ms. Rose just mentioned that tend on behalf of PCC? Just to have all the liaisons?
From my understanding, I am the only one that is representing PCC. I am a new hire here. It is my very first semester here, so I am not aware.
I was there and I voted. I was the representative for PCC. I was voting on behalf of PCC.
So you were one of the liaisons?
I was a delegate.
Okay.
No, liaisons are very different from delegates. Liaisons attend state meetings. They bring back reports to your local academic senates. Liaisons have a very distinct responsibility, which is to bring back message from the SCCC to here. So that is the difference.
Okay, Amy? I'm your OER ASCC rep, and I unfortunately had to miss plenary. It was a scheduling issue, but I am planning on attending in the spring. So that's open educational resources, again, working hand in hand with the equity and inclusion folks to make education and educational materials affordable for all of our students.
Thank you. That's good to hear.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now we have a DEIA evaluation update from Quay May.
Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Lopez and the Academic Senate for giving me time to share about the Chancellor's Office new efforts to embed diversity, equity, equity, inclusion, and accessibilities, competencies, and faculty evaluation and tenure processes. Some of you may have heard the Chancellor's Office has been working for over a year now, and they have recently passed new ed code, Title V ed code requiring every California community college to embed diversity-focused criteria in employee evaluations and tenure review processes. These efforts are in alignment with the Vision for Success and the Governor's Recovery with Equity Roadmap that calls out for the incorporation of equity-centered practices into all evaluations. And very fitting to come after the statewide academic senate because a lot of the efforts are very similar too. Within this memo, in the slides that looks like it wasn't embedded in the agenda, but we'll get that to you. The Chancellor's Office created a DEI competency and criteria framework, which includes the following themes: cultural competency, professional self-reflection, professional self-improvement, DIA, pedagogy and curriculum, data-informed, and the DEIA mission and service. So I know that's a lot of different themes, but once we get the memo, it's outlined very much detailed the terminology and definitions that Chancellor's Office is using to define these terms. I definitely encourage you to take a moment to, outside of this meeting, to review the memo, as it provides a solid framework to guide us towards implementation. So under our area of institutional equity, diversity, and justice, we have reviewed these guidelines, and are recommending that we look at our current structure and tools to see where there are opportunities to embed or strengthen DEI competencies. So looking at our current structure, for example, there's already tools that are embedded in evaluation, including the self-evaluation form, the classroom evaluation form done by a VP or peer, the dean's evaluation worksheet, as well as the student evaluation. So all of these current tools that are already embedded in evaluations can be reviewed and updated or added on to embed DIA competencies. So we don't have to necessarily create new processes, but really strengthen the ones that we currently have. We want this to be manageable and move forward with the spirit of effort and service of students and being the right thing to do, not because it's just an issue of compliance. So with these changes, we also know it's really important to support professional development for faculty, staff, and deans. So we want to really engage in creating trainings for our deans as well as faculty to understand these new DEI competencies. We're also looking at other options in terms of videos, books, articles that faculty can access on their own to really engage in these learning experiences. With that said, we also want to mention that there are current obstacles, legal obstacles that are in play right now with this new ed code. So there are current efforts questioning the legality of these efforts. But this should not deter us from continuing the conversations of the work. We hope to continue creating spaces for conversation for Academic Senate, Faculty Association, and deans to engage in these efforts and work in partnership with IEDJ to co-author some criteria and recommendations to HR. Sorry, I don't have the slides on. We're having some technical issues, but I am open for questions. So this is just information I want to let you know that is in the works.
Yes, fine. When will this be rolling out? The goal will be at try to.
Technically, the memo, the chancellor, the memo came out in May of 2023 with it stating that they wanted colleges to start implementing their efforts by October. But they also know that this is just a recommendation and that there's no concrete, absolute date that it has to be done by. So for us, we're not creating an absolute deadline or timeline. We want to do it right. We want it to be faculty-led. We want this to be an all-campus effort. So we're going to take as much time as we need.
Any other questions? Yes, Devin. I'm sorry. So I'll need to,
Extend my 5 minutes.
thank you in a second. Yes, thank you. Lauren? If there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you have an additional 5 minutes.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, how much of this is under the umbrella of the Academic Senate in terms of the 10+1? And how much of this is under working conditions? Because in the FA, we would like to support the initiative. Obviously, the legal issues have kind of kept us from having those discussions, but how much do you think the FA can support against other working conditions?
Yeah, absolutely. Our hope is that FA and Academic Senate work in partnership to help define the criteria, but it would have to go through the union for contract approval. So it's multi-stepped, but we would need all of those parties to be supportive.
So perhaps it's better to start a conversation here in the Senate and kind of go through what the expectations are and then kind of take it to the FA in terms of negotiating under the next contract.
Yes, I think that's a really great recommendation, and we had talked to the executive board, and they wanted us to bring this to you all as part of our efforts to move that forward.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, Claire. Okay, next we have, I saw Alex left. Are you gonna present for him?
No, Mr. Buckelhide said he would request to come to a future meeting.
Okay, thank you. And we have our updated agenda, which includes Ken Simon for our library systems. And I will extend my apologies to Mr. Buckelhide.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for agreeing to add me to the agenda. This is a time-sensitive announcement. I'm passing out a flyer. There aren't enough copies for everyone, but this is going to go out in an email blast. It's going to go through the department chair, division chairs, so it's going to end up getting to everyone. What I have is just a brief announcement about something that's going to change starting with the spring semester and how we access databases. So that would be articles or streaming videos or ebooks that you get through the library. The change is going to be with off-campus access. And the short and sweet background of this is that for a long time now, PCC has paid for a special server called a proxy server that lets our students and us access all of this stuff from off campus using our Lancer Point logins. The state is going to be picking up the tab for this server from now on, which is great for us. But the trade-off is that the address, right, the web address or URL for accessing databases is going to change when this occurs. So that means all of the links that faculty members are embedding in their syllabi and Canvas or sharing out are all new. And this is why we're really trying to get word out in every way we can. So the handout goes into more detail, but just to briefly show you, this is the condensed version. The process is going to be over winter intersession. You can all do this because the new server will be up and running, but the old one's going to stay working for winter as well. So you have this transitional time. You can check all of your existing links in Canvas, anywhere you have them, and it shows you what they look like at the beginning of the link. If it has that piece at the beginning of the link, it's going through our current server. If it does, we'll need to change that first part of the link so it looks like the one in step 2. And if you just swap out that initial piece of the link with the new one, it's going to work. But you'll have winter intersession to test it out. However, once winter ends, that old server goes away because we're no longer paying for it. We can't extend it any further. And the new ones will have to be in place. So we have a tool, and the handout gives the address for this. The address will be going out. We have a tool online where you can throw in your old links and it'll spin them back out with a new piece in them. So we're doing everything we can to make this a manageable transition. But the main message I have is share this out to as many people as you can. Contact us if you have a link that's not working or you're not sure about how to go about making sure everything works for your students. You know, we have our librarian at Pasadena.edu address. We will help out if anyone runs into any problems. But for now, this was the initial announcement. Does anyone have any questions about this?
Go ahead. When do the new links go live? Can we start it in winter or do they go live in spring?
Good question. To be honest, most of the new links should already be working. I wouldn't start just sharing it out with students right now, but you can start testing and let us know if anything is causing a problem.
Okay, my question was, can the senators print this out or forward it to people in the divisions, or do we wait on this?
You can absolutely share it out. I think we're going to try to do an all faculty email blast as well, but we all know not everybody checks an all faculty email blast. So as much as you can share would be good.
Yes. Will this be changing, like what we have access to, will it all be the same thing, is it expanding, like we're just identical but different?
Yeah, it's just a mechanical change. It doesn't change any of what we access.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Ken.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Mission and Senate. Okay, so now we go on to old business, our liberatory education Senate goals. Okay, this is actually the third time this has come to the Senate. So I'll let Dr. Rose start with this, but I do want to say we need to come to a decision on this at this meeting. It's the last meeting of our semester. We've had it where this has come before us 3 times, it's our first time it's come before us. And, yeah, go ahead.
So, for those of you who attended our Senate retreat in the beginning of the fall semester, you contributed to creating our liberatory education goals, you may remember. We brought a version that was kind of all of them. We have a kitchen sink version to our last meeting, and then thank you to those of you who provided feedback. We have a current, narrowed down, curated version of our liberatory education goals that we will be using really to advertise to our students our commitment to actualizing liberation through education for them. And these goals will be part of a visual campaign that is already underway. That Dr. Lopez, did you want to show those pictures kind of in a minute, kind of? Sure. With these? Okay. So we do have some of the visual items that will be partnered with these written goals. So this is really just kind of final input. If there's any tweaks that anyone would like, any reordering, if you feel passionately that one of these goals should be up top compared to the other ones, we would love your feedback now. Should I make it a little bigger? These were also on the agenda, so hopefully you had a little bit of time to review and get final feedback from your constituents.
If there are no questions or comments, we can put this to a vote. I just need a motion. Yes.
Do I have to say the motion?
Motion to approve.
Can I just say motion to approve?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Is there a second? I saw Jeff's hand first. Okay. All those in favor of approving these liberatory education goals, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? Okay, we have new liberatory goals. Yay, yes. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rose.
Yes.
Okay, next we have new business, and it is the dissolving of the GE committee. And Sharice, are you still here? Thank you, friend. Can you come and talk to us in case someone has questions? Are there any questions on dissolving this committee? Okay, then I just need a motion. A motion to dissolve this committee. Jeff, I saw your hand first. Do I have a second? Okay, Amy, you have a second? Okay, all those in favor, we can discuss this? Is there any discussion? Yes, Jose.
I'm not too familiar with the G committee. Can she discuss what it does or what it did?
So we have transfer GEs and we have local GEs, and the transfer GEs are determined by an external body, but the local GEs are under the purview of PCC. And traditionally, it's been the articulation officer just updating whatever was approved for transfer GEs onto the local GE pattern. But in recent years, there have been more changes needed for the local GE other than just adding and removing courses. So back in 2018, AP 4100 was updated, and we combined our 2 old versions of our local GE. At that time, we were hoping that we could create an official Senate subcommittee to do that work and more holistically look at our local GE every year rather than just little tweaks here and there. The committee started, but it didn't really move forward, and so there are Title V changes coming through that need to go into effect in the next catalog, and we're hoping on taking back the responsibility within CNI rather than just the articulation officer on their own. And so we've done the work in CNI, and we're ready to present you all with updates to the local GE early in the spring term for you all to vote on. So we're kind of just moving back the responsibilities within the umbrella of CNI. Okay, we're hoping to.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of dissolving this committee, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, Tim, it's 1 abstention. This committee is dissolved. Thank you. Okay. the DE recertification process with our very own Lauren Baker.
Hello, everybody. I am here in my capacity as, sorry, I don't really need this for the last two guys. I'm here in my capacity as one of PCC's DE coordinators and also the co-chair of the Faculty Committee for Online Education. So just a reminder that in order to teach online at PCC, you have to be certified. The way you do that is to take our 8-week online teaching certification that is in-house. That will actually be going through a bit of a redesign, not in terms of length or anything like that. We're adopting a new @ONE course that we're going to be using and rolling that out in winter. You can take the OTC course, you can take @ONE's online teaching and design, which is a 12-week version of that training, or you can go through a process known as distance education equivalency. So in the past, you've had to get certified, but then there's nothing after that to maintain certification. So essentially, even though the online space changes pretty rapidly all the time, and we know there's lots of new technologies and other things going on, there's no sort of recertification process. And it is our hope to have one moving forward. And so I'm here to present the proposal that we came up with in the Faculty Committee for Online Education. So first of all, why are we doing this? Well, in May of 2021, our AP was updated to say that folks who teach online should have ongoing instructor training every 3 years. So what we're trying to do is come up with a process that will bring us in alignment with that AP. Because while that information, that language was put into the AP, no actual process for how that was supposed to happen has actually been hashed out yet. So that's what we're trying to do. And the language says that the training can include information and updates on online teaching and learning, legal requirements, accreditation standards, etc. We also just think that this is really important. So besides the fact that it's in the AP, the online space changes all the time. You guys know what happened when ChatGPT was unleashed, right? Now we all have to figure out how to deal with that, how to stay updated. This is also really important with respect to accessibility. We know accessibility is so important with the materials that we put online, and we know that a lot of our faculty do struggle with having their courses fully accessible because of not necessarily understanding all the tools available or what the requirements are, what legal obligations there are. And we are seeing that there are various lawsuits that are happening right throughout the state, other colleges, because material is not being made fully accessible to students. So it is really important that we provide our faculty with the training to support them in this, and of course support our students. We also do want to remain at the forefront